Okay, just like the video title states, how to precisely know when to fade a team coming from the road back to the home. Typically, I like to fade teams that are coming from the road back to the home after like one loss. All right, one or two loss, no streaks. Okay, they have to come from the road to the home, or they have to be on the road, lose a road game, and then go back on the stay on the road and then play another road team after one loss. This works really well. Don't like to fade teams going from the home to the road, or if they lose a home game and then stay at home. Okay, dynamic changes in that situation, but we're strictly talking about road teams losing, coming back home after a loss to a team. Like, we'll use the Atlantic 10 for an example in this video. For the purpose of this video, VCU, okay, they lead the conference. I like to use these teams as the way to get value going into the next game. Okay, so we're going to use VCU as this example. They're the top team in the Atlantic 10. Okay, so this is how the dynamic changes when you're able to fade and go with a team. For example, this is a team that we would be fading a favorite in. Okay, so you got a team like VCU here who leads the conference. They're 13-2, 22-6 overall. Obviously, they're the best team in the conference. Okay, so if you have a team like Richmond, Rhode Island, St. Joseph's, all these teams are under 500, 12-16 record, 6-9 in the conference. Okay, poor record, under 500. Okay, these teams right here are not going to have a letdown if they lose to VCU. Most likely they won't. It's 50-50, but most likely these teams under 500, any team under 500, is not going to have a letdown. The impact is not going to be as strong as a team up here losing to VCU. Okay, and I'm going to explain that. Now, if Richmond loses to a team like VCU on the road, and then they come back home and then they play a team like George Washington or UMass, they're going to have Richmond favored as a 3 or 4 point favorite. Okay, and what's going to happen is, since this is a competitive matchup, they're viewing, the line makers are shading the line toward this underdog because it's more of a competitive matchup. Okay, and what's going to happen is the mindset for Richmond isn't going to be the same mindset as one of these top teams over here that loses to VCU. Okay, and this favorite most likely will end up winning when they come back home. Okay, so that's how you have to determine how these teams are record-wise, and the dynamic changes for the mindset. Okay, now you have a team like Davidson or Dayton, for instance. You have a team like Dayton lose to VCU. All right, they're on the road, they lose to VCU. Dayton comes back home and plays a team like UMass or George Washington. What's going to happen is they're going to overvalue Dayton, they're going to overvalue Davidson, and most likely these teams right here are going to cover the spread. Okay, George Washington, UMass, whoever it is, are going to cover the spread because these two teams right here just lost to a conference opponent that's very competitive. All these teams are pretty much neck and neck, and they're going to be a lot more demoralized than a team like Richmond coming home. Okay, so that's the dynamic you have to understand. It has all to do with the record, and that's how you determine the mindset of some of these teams. Okay, so Davidson losing on the road to VCU is more impactful than Richmond losing to VCU and coming back home. All right, so that's the difference of how you get teams to perform, especially these underdogs, when they'll start performing. So that is the difference between picking a team like this and trying to fade, as opposed to picking a team like this and trying to fade them. All right, so I'll be back with another video. Hope that helped, and I'll be uploading some more videos coming soon.